we're going to go a little bit quick through this so we can also do question and answers. But take a minute and just list 3 reasons why you even want to be happy. Why? And 3 feelings how happiness feels for you. So I'm going to give you a minute for that. I think we're coming up on a minute, and don't worry if you didn't get it all done or you have just one reason or you need a little bit more thinking, you could always rewatch this webinar and just keep working on that. So I really think that being happy is something very personal, because for you it's different than for me. And starting out with actually clarity about what your reasons are and how it really feels is very, very important, and will lead you through this webinar. So why even be and live happy? So I want to share with you what I found in my daily writings and my work with people and everything. So what do I even mean with be? Well, be happy. To me, that is a whole, as a whole you know, as your body, as your mind, as your soul, as consciousness. Be happy, like wholesome. And live happy is the experience that you carry, you know, how you experience life. So you're walking the path of your life, and that's how you live happy. To me, this is very different, but it's all part of the same thing. So for one, for starters, a happy life is a very, very fulfilled experience. Why? Because your body functions really well. You know, you're really, really healthy, you're abundant, you're successful. And when you're happy, you're in a good mood and you attract good mood things, you know, and good mood people, because every feeling is in a frequency. And if you're happy, then you are walking the path in life in a happy frequency. And that's where everything else happy sits too. Because just think about, have you ever woken up like you know, you're waking up and you're angry, frustrated, and then you stub your toe and a coffee spills, versus you're waking up in a really good mood and you're happy and everything just kind of goes well for you. So that is really a thing, and it's really proven that, I call it a high for life frequency, that when you are happy, things just go well. You know, also your mind is capable of producing good thoughts, and your feelings are really well. And when something in life comes at you, you know, like a train or whatnot, you actually have a chance to react really well, because you're coming from an aligned, happy you. Number 2 is, I don't think I want to put pressure on you guys, but I see it as everyone's responsibility to be their best happy them. Why do I say that? And I don't mean it in a pressure way, but ultimately everything is energy. You know, it's proven that at the smallest particle, everything is energy, and all the energies, they're shared with each other. You know, so if I come into a room and I'm angry, well, I share that with everyone, right? But if I come in a room and I'm aligned, I'm happy, and I'm, you know, easy peasy, playful, I share that with everyone. And that means, because everything is always shared and you can inspire people either way, you know, up or down, that means you make the world a better place. If you are working on being the happiest you that you can be, and we'll talk about that, there are different ways of being happy, but it means that you make the world a better place. You know, it really is, because you give that out, you inspire people, and you share that constantly. And number 3, I am a big believer that we're here in this physical life to feel well and to constantly learn about ourselves, and also align and shift and constantly in how we feel better, because right now it's different than in 10 minutes, right? So to really realize that you're here to live a happy life, a well-feeling life. And I also believe very much that everyone deserves to feel well and be happy. And I also think that everyone deserves to learn how to, because after all, it's not that hard. And we'll get to that later too. So when I share these 3 reasons with you that I came up with and that I see in my work and the book all the time, I just wonder if you can somehow look at your 3 reasons and feelings and kind of like connect them with each other, right? So if you say, well, one of the reasons is that I want to feel happy is because I want to have more energy. Well, can you see how this actually is connected with a happy life, goes well, right? And you feel better. And also that it's your responsibility. So you can share then that too with the world, give more energy that way. And also then on top of that, that you deserve to have more energy, that you deserve to be happy. So these 3 reasons and feelings that you noted down for yourself in the beginning, and then you look at my 3 reasons that I'm giving you, it's the same. It's all connected. And to really, that should give you a great foundation to say, yes, all the doubts that I had, about being happy. No. Jacqueline just explained it to me. And I tell you what, the foundation is there because it really is true. I want to be happy. I'm supposed to be happy and I deserve to be happy and really feel good. So, which leads me to a fact. And the fact is that you are happiness and happiness is you. I always say it's the best package deal ever. Think about it. You are happiness and happiness is you. I mean, it can't get any better than that, right? Because think of it like that. If I would ask you, are you a physical body right now? You would say, well, yeah, duh. Look at me. Of course, I'm a physical body, right? Of course. Well, I mean, what's the question? And you also wouldn't get up, roll out of bed in the morning and say, well, am I a physical body or am I not a physical body? You know you're a physical body. And that's the same with happiness. Happiness is you. It's in you. It's for you. It's always right there. In every life situation, there is happiness there with you and for you. And happiness is an essence, it's not something you do. It's an essence that you already are. And it's an energy, just like everything else. And you are energy, meaning that you are happiness. And I always say, imagine yourself that you're this energetic cloud, and you're walking down the path of your life and you're happiness. I mean, that's an amazing picture. So wherever you go and whenever you're present, which you always are while being alive, that means you are also happiness. And a lot of times it's like if we ask somebody and say, are you happy? They either say yes or no, or well, I don't know. And the thing is to become a little bit more aware of that. Because if you just say yes, you didn't really take the moment to say, ooh, what is that really, right? And how does it really feel for me? If you say, well, I don't know, you also didn't connect to your happiness. And if you kind of say no, then you also are forgetting that you are happiness. And that's because a lot of times we look outside of us, right? So in reality, all you have to do is you have to believe that you are happiness, because your physical body, for instance, I mean, every single cell is constantly working for you. You're breathing, right? And you can smile whenever you want to. And so all these things, these are producing happiness for you. It's always right there, right? And then the other thing is to commit to happiness. So when you believe your happiness, I am happiness. I don't have to go anywhere out there. I don't have to look for anything out there. Sure, a chocolate chip cookies can be happiness, but that should be the cherry on top. You shouldn't have to count on that chocolate chip cookie, because if you constantly count on outside things, that means you're running after it. You're constantly running from thing to thing just to hold on to, and not lose that happiness. And that's exhausting. And that's why most people are actually really exhausted. So the stress of searching for happiness and the pressure of when it doesn't happen can absolutely dissolve if you believe that you are happiness, that happiness is always there for you, no matter what, in you, around you, sure, yeah, for you, and then also to commit to being happiness. A lot of times we're like, well, I'd like to be happy, but we're not really committing, right? It's like no soup is made at night if you don't commit to go buy the ingredients and then stand in the kitchen and do it, or do the instant soup and put it in the microwave. You won't have any soup. You got to commit. And that's the same with happiness, right? You can't just some sort of kind of wish and then think about, well, why is it not happening? No, it's a commitment. I believe that I'm happiness. My whole essence is happiness. And that means I'm committing to myself. I'm committing to be me, to be aligned, and I am committing to happiness, right? And then also to choose to feel happy anew and anew, because happiness always changes, right? You roll out of bed in the morning and you take a deep, beautiful breath, and that's happiness. And you thank for the day ahead of you, that's happiness. And then on top of that, you know, during the day, you do other things, and that's happiness. Then you're hungry for lunch, and that's happiness, and things like that. And to just kind of like realize that it changes all the time. So you got to choose it in every moment. So maybe set an alarm 3 times a day to practice this a little bit, right? And to constantly choose happiness anew and anew. And then, of course, practice, right? You know, you get really good at it when you practice. Happiness is no different. You are invited in life to constantly practice, practice, practice. And then, of course, the last one is really potent, is to be like as a wholesome you and to live it, right? To be happiness and live happiness. Experience your life as happiness. And that is what you really are, as your physical body, as your mind, as your soul, as your energetic you and consciousness and everything, because you're always, always connected. And you know, the result when you live like that is really you're reaching a state of where happiness or being happy loses its pressure, it loses its stress. You can simply just relax, you know, and say, well, I'm happiness. What's the problem? I'm happiness, and I can always, always choose it and practice and anew and really do that. And then to me, in that state, everyone can actually really be what they already are, which is well-feeling, which is capable, which is potent, which is really aligned, showing up as who you really are. So practicing to be and live happy, what is it all about and how does it work? It's important to realize that happiness is a life moment to moment kind of thing, actually split second to split second, and it's alive. It always, always changes, right? And when you realize that it's not, you say, okay, I'm going to practice happiness. I'm going to study Jacqueline's book or do any happiness program or that, and then I'm just going to be happy, or I'm just going to do that. That is not the case. And you're going to be really disappointed, because it's always constantly changing. It's like the weather, right? It's like, depending on where you live, absolutely. But it's like the weather, it changes, right? And then when it changes, you kind of adapt to it. When it rains, you put on your rain boots. When it snows, you know, you might stay in, or you adapt to it. And for happiness, it's the same, because life is always changing. It's never the same. And if you try to hold on to something and this is how it is right now, and I really love it, and I just want it to be like that forever, you're actually going against the nature of what life is all about. And because everything is energy, energy is always changing, and it's vibrating and moving, and life is the same. So I invite you to be in the flow of life and just realize that you always change, life always changes, happiness always changes, and then to adapt with that, right? What is happiness for me right now? What makes me feel really good? How do I even feel, right? Like, ask yourself like 3 times a day, tune in, set an alarm and say, how do I feel right now? Am I happy? If you say yes, keep on rocking. Very well done. If you say, I could be happier, well, what could you do to feel better? Right? Sometimes it's just taking a deep breath in and out, or sometimes you haven't eaten yet, or sometimes it's just to connect with the sky or something out there. So to really realize that, and then if you say, I am not happy at all, then it's absolute stop. Stop whatever you're doing. Do not continue anything unless the house is on fire or the kids really, really, really need you. But other than that, make a clear stop and say, all right, I'm not going in the right direction because I am not happy, meaning that you're actually not aligned with who you really are, which is pure positive energy. So where are you going in the wrong direction? You know, what do you need right now? And most of the time, if we stop just for 2 minutes, you can shift the whole boat around. With that, you can align with yourself through either, breathing, resting, or just doing something for yourself, or smiling at yourself in the mirror or something. That changes it, meaning that you align with you. And then number 3, that reason I gave you, or it was number 2 actually, meaning that you make the world a better place. And that in itself should make you happy, because you matter immensely. Nobody can do what you do and bring the happiness like you do to the table, because nobody else is you. So without you, the world cannot go round. That's just how it goes. Without you, it's not happening. That happiness way of being you is missing. That means a puzzle piece in the world is missing. So I invite you to, step into who you really are and take excellent, excellent care of yourself and make that a priority. It's like self-care at its best, because self-love is very important, and that's goes under that umbrella of being happy, of course. However, it's really important that you take care of yourself, because when you take good care of yourself and you feel really good about yourself, you can love yourself so much. But if you run down and you're not taking such good care of yourself, it's really hard to love yourself. Which, by the way, self-love, I think we make too big of a deal out of it either, because I tell you what, when you're hungry and you go eat something, that's called self-love. Right there. It's very simple. And that's the thing. When you go into the basics, you already are everything you're seeking. You're already doing most of the things. And what is the key to then realizing that? It's awareness. It's being mindful about it, right? So next time you are hungry and you feed yourself, say, oh, I love myself so much. I'm actually eating something. I'm feeding myself. That's called self-love. It's called happiness. I make the world a better place. And because I matter, and it matters to me that I matter and that I'm being the best ever in the world. So to really realize that a lot of things you are actually already doing, and all you got to do is just be mindful and also celebrate yourself, thank yourself, and just hold yourself a little bit higher than you already are, actually 10 times higher that you're already holding yourself. I invite you for that, and you will see that a lot of things that you think you want, or you want to do, or you have to do, or should do, or you should feel better, you actually already doing it. All you got to do is put awareness to it. So anyway, so happiness is born when you choose it, when you commit to it, and when you want to learn how to be it. Think about that. And that you can go back to your 3 reasons and 3 feelings. How can you accomplish that? How can you choose it so you can actually live up to those reasons and fulfill these reasons? How can you commit to it? And how can you learn to be it? Right? How can you learn to be it? So another big thing that always comes up is like, people say like, yeah, but Jacqueline, you have it easy. It's like, well, we have to change all this. And I always say, no, you don't have to change anything. That's the thing. It's like, if you focus on something and you say, oh, I have to change that, and then you focus on what you have to change or want to change, you put a big momentum on what you actually want to change, what you don't want, and then forgetting about what you really want. So in my eyes, nothing has to change. Just start where you are right now. I always meet everyone with my books, my work, my clients, where they are. because that is where you start. And to then really embrace where you are, and celebrate where you are. And also, like, pat yourself on the back, how far you've come, where you are, and with, gratitude and respect to where you are right now, where would you like to go? Because without respecting and thanking your foundation, it's really hard to build something better on it, right? So no matter where you are, no matter what's going wrong, no matter what's going right, no matter, just say, this is where I am. And guess what? I'm really grateful. I'm proud of myself and I love where I am. And I, at least if you can't love it, respect where I am. I really, really respect where I am. I have come from far already. And on that foundation, I love this. And I love myself enough to realize that, and then start building, right? And nothing has to change, but everything can just be as is. And on top of that, you're actually then, building on top of that amazing, steady, and grateful and thankful foundation of who you already are. And when you have this understanding of how life works, how you work, and grow with yourself, there's a certain clarity, and that clarity in itself will bring you happiness. And to just get excited about what's to come. Be excited about now and get excited about what's to come, and invite this all, right? And then just move through life as that energetic cloud of happiness. And that really changes everything. It really changes everything. And that's why my next thing, I'm looking at my list a little bit, so I'm staying on top of everything, but why I wanted to talk about how happiness changes everything, and how to change everything to happiness in every single moment. As we said, everything and everyone is energy, right? And it's always connected as one. You're always sharing and spreading your energy. And we also covered that you are happiness, and that happiness is you, right? You're never separate. It always one. It's the biggest, most bestest package deal you ever could have thought of, right? It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So wherever you are going, and whenever you're present, which is always, because you're alive, that means happiness is there too. To realize that, think about it. It's right there with you, in you, for you, as you, right there. Right? All you got to do is smile, and then you realize, wait a minute, yeah, that's right there for me, right? As me. And so how can you shift everything then? So we understand that, we covered that, but then how can you shift in normal day-to-day life? How can you shift happiness? And how can you make it that happiness changes everything? And changing, I mean, like, nothing is wrong, but you want to shift into feeling better, because after all, we are talking about happiness, right? So I want to talk about the situations in life where, you're not so happy, like you're sad, frustrated, or anything. You're just kind of like not feeling so good, right? Because the happy situations, we don't really need to talk about it right now. So in every life situation, you have at least 3 choices. At least 3, but I want to cover just 3 of them, because to me they're really profound, and I use them with my clientele too, to just so they can realize that they can shift. They have the power to shift everything at all times. So let's say you're frustrated, angry, or somebody said something, or something happened, or whatnot. You have choice number 1. You can just live that low frequency feeling, that unwell feeling. You just can bathe in it and say, oh, that's just, I feel that way, and I'm just going to live it all, right? And sometimes that is actually very well feeling, because if you're super, super sad, and then you have a good cry, for instance, well, these tears, that cry is amazing. It's an amazing cleansing tool, right? And it makes you feel better. So that's an option. You also, number 2, you can just acknowledge how you feel. Okay, I'm sad, or I'm frustrated, and I'm going to let it go. That's it. I acknowledge it, and then I'll let it go. That's fine too, because you actually give yourself the respect to embrace how you feel, And then you say, but I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to live it. A lot of times that's actually really wonderful too, because you put the attention to you, which makes you feel happy inside. And then you see it go away, which is wonderful. You can even wave it at it. And that's wonderful too. Number three, which I personally think is the most fantastic one, is when you acknowledge how you feel. I feel sad. I feel angry. I feel frustrated. I'm going to let it go. Bye-bye. That's fine. On top of that, I'm going to focus on the lesson in this, on what I can learn from myself. Why am I in this? What does this mean for me, right? Okay, I'm sad. I'm going to let it go. However, what really pinpointed, what really made me sad, right? And to not look at the other person, well, they made me sad with what they said, but to take instead responsibility and say, well, my feelings are mine. Nobody can make me feel anything. So I feel sad. Where's that sadness even coming from? What does this sadness even mean for me? Because it's my sadness. Does it come from when I was a child? Does it bring up memories? Or did I just not sleep well enough and I'm super tired and now I'm very sad because I just don't have the strength in me to stay, not sad. So to take that lesson out of it, however, not every time you can do this three-part solution. However, you have the option. These three options are always in every life situation. No matter what is happening, you have these choices. And depending on what's well feeling for you right then in that moment, what is happiness for you, what is aligned with that good feeling as you in that moment, you choose the right option for you. And that means no matter what's coming to you, no matter what's happening in life for you, it never happens to you. It always happens for you, because everything always has something in it for you. No matter, you can always choose what's right for you. And that's how you create happiness. That's how you create well-feeling. That's how you create peace, and really a satisfaction inside of you. Because to me, happiness is like the rooftop, and then all these well feelings, they live in the house underneath the roof of happiness. So anything, if you feel good, you feel happy. That's just how it goes. It's just little different knick-knack feelings that are living in the house of happiness. So when you hear all of these choices and everything, so I want to invite you, and that leads then further into the workshop. I want to invite you to think of another few points, and I'm going to have some questions for you. So I'd like for you to take your piece of paper and a pen again, or your device where you can write down the answers to these questions. So, you ready? What is one big thing, like the biggest thing you want at work or in private? What do you want? One. You can also write three if you have three, but let's just keep it by one for now. What is one big thing you want at work or in private? Also, what is one feeling that you want at work or in private? So one big thing at work and private, and one feeling. How do you want to feel? One feeling at work and private. And number two is, what is one big thing that you want to change at work or in private? And what is one feeling that you want to change at work or in private? So I'm going to let you write that down. I'll give you a minute. we are coming up on a minute. And if you have any questions, and please just feel free to write them in a chat or the Q&A. And Stephanie, if there are questions or whatnot, you can just interrupt me and ask them. So I'm wanting, with these questions, I wanted to initiate like a roadmap for you for happiness, because you have the reasons, you have the feelings, but you also want to know kind of like, you know, what do you even want, right? And how do you want to feel, and what do you want to change, and what the feelings that you want to change, because that will add on to working through all of this. So we're going to move on to tie it in later, but we want to move on to like, to create a happy lifestyle. It's always good to have like some sort of practice or habit, right? I mean, that's for everything really, to really kind of commit and focus and practice. So and then to make a habit out of it, because the more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. So number one is to practice a pressure-free happiness. What do I mean with that? To throw out all your expectations you have about happiness. I want you to forget everything, whatever anybody said, what your beliefs are, whatever you heard or whatnot, whatever you believe in, the old style of being you and being happy. I want you to throw it all out and really start new, because happiness shows up in many ways, in many sizes, in many shapes, you know, and it's extremely unique to everyone. What works for you does not work for me, and vice versa. And you cannot be successfully happy and have a happy lifestyle if you base it on anything else than you, right? And how you think happiness is for you right now is very different from 10 years ago. So it's time to make a new roadmap, right? And to create pressure-free happiness for you, because anytime you have expectations in how it has to be on old beliefs, it creates pressure, and then you don't live up on that pressure, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's not working. Whereas actually, when you would say, well, wait a minute, what is happiness for me right now? It actually fits. I'm actually really happy. I'm just not feeling happy because I'm basing it on stuff that's not for me anymore. Maybe never even was like that. Because when you consciously breathe, that's happiness, right? A smile, that's happiness. A cup of tea, a cup of coffee, that could be happiness, right? Or a good cry, because it's a great release, as we already covered, right? And then cleaning your house while you're angry. Have you ever cleaned a house when you're angry with that forceful energy of your anger, and you're so fast cleaning that house like never before? And you're like, wow, I did that in a speed record. Well, that's happiness, because afterwards you're like, wow, I have this clean house, and now I still have time to do all these other things. That's happiness. And to really realize how good that feels, we mostly then focus on being angry, but leave the anger. Anger is just an emotion. It's just an energy, just like happiness. It's just different, right? And if you embrace your emotions, if you say, well, you know what, I'm a human being, wholesome being, and I feel angry sometimes, I feel frustrated sometimes, don't hurt anybody, but you just embrace that and say, I am not going to judge myself about anything anymore. I am a wholesome me, and I'm going to embrace that. And when I'm angry, what could I do? So I feel really good about that anger, because anger is an amazing, really, really powerful energy force, right? It's really, really force. So to just take that pressure away, you know, and throw it all out, the expectations, make new stories with your happiness. Number two is to be and stay resistant free. And because a lot of times we're so resistant, right? We have blockages. We are like old recordings, and we carry so much other people's stuff and whatnot. And that brings resistance, or you're resisting to actually be happy because other people around you are not, right? And then it's this whole, I shouldn't be, or I can't, or I don't want to overdo it, right? Kind of like, so here it is. Say these 5 sentences, and that is a complete cleansing, energetically, mindfully, feeling wise, and everything. It's called, I accept, I respect, I appreciate, I thank, and I love everything and everyone, no matter what it is. It's just that it is. And you can make sentences out of it. I accept, da da da. I respect, whatever you want to say. I appreciate, I thank, and I love. Love might be the hardest one, but you can do it. You can say it and just, as a mantra: I accept, I respect, I appreciate, I thank, I love. You can even sing and dance it. And it's just this cleansing, right? You literally just let go of all the resistance that you have, because you're making peace with everything and everyone inside of you. And you're not making it for others. You're making it always for you, because you're the only one that you can have control over, right? Everything we're talking about here is for you. And because when you do it for you, you align with who you really are, which is happiness, meaning that you can then from there share and spread yourself as that amazing positive energy, and that's world changing. So as a resistance-free being, you're open and receiving to feel happiness anywhere at any time. So if you feel like you're resisting it a little bit, or it's a little hard or whatnot, or you're in a situation where the family is not happy or something like that, you just say that, and then you breathe into it, and then feel yourself. You will feel clean, and that cleanness and that clarity is happiness. So number 3 is create a healthy happiness environment for your wholesome you, for your physical body. Eat clean, exercise the way you need to, sleep well, take care of your physical body, because a physical body can actually feel good. And that is part of the healthy happiness environment. And then also, of course, for your mind, right? A lot of times we say, oh, you're too much in your head. Well, I disagree with that. I want you to be in your head, because your head is your mind, and your mind is the most powerful tool you have to actually talk yourself into happiness, to actually, think yourself into happiness and into your alignment of who you really are. Meaning that, what are you feeding? So instead of getting out of your head, I want you to stay in your head, but see where your thoughts are coming from. Old recordings, unwell feeling, or what if your heart could talk? What if my heart could talk? What would my heart tell me? And then basically think those thoughts, those words, right? And feed that to your mind and stay on course with that. And just realize how your thoughts, when they not feel so good, well, then it's old recordings out the door. What if my heart could speak, right? Because your heart would tell you, oh, you're amazing, you're capable, and you are really healthy, happy, and lovable. And then feed that to your mind. And then, of course, nourish your soul. Your soul sits in your heart. Your heart hosts your soul. Everything that touches your heart feeds your soul. So if you hug your children, or if you kiss and hug, or you connect with the sky or the birds, or you're laughing, smiling, that touches your heart. And when it touches your heart, it feeds your soul. And then lastly, but not leastly, is the power of consciousness is in your now. Since everything is energy, there's a connection that is to be made with the sky, because we say, oh, the sky, it's all empty. It's not empty. Every energy has information, intelligence. You have it in every single cell of you, intelligence, and the sky has intelligence. The birds have intelligence. To really connect in your now, right now, just look at the sky, right? And connect with the sky, connect with your breath, connect with the water. When you drink water, water has such intelligence. It's not just water and empty. Just kind of like connect with the water, and really mindfully drink that water and let it flow into your body, and tell the water what you want it to do in your body, to hydrate and feel that really, and to really connect. I cannot say anything more. Mindful, connect, and happiness, it's all one and the same. So when you practice this every day, and then you get ready to really reach happiness anytime and anywhere. And you make your own roadmap. You make your own rules about happiness, right? And you basically stand in your middle of being you, which is happiness. And as a result, what happens is your health picks up, right? Your abundance can actually come in because there's no blockages, right? And then success, we talk about success. Well, if you're in a state like that, so aligned and so you and so feeling good, it's a given that you're successful, because you're going to show up and you're going to wow people. You're going to step in a room and people will see you, people will look at you. You don't even have to speak up too loud or anything. You could just be you, because it's very powerful when you step into who you really are. You are absolutely powerful. There's nothing else to say. And you can also then inspire people. You create a movement, you inspire people, and people want to be with you. People want to give you their money. People want to give you their business. People want to come be close with you, because you're a magnet, and you are very, very powerful as an aligned, happy you. And also, with this work I'm doing with happiness, and if you follow this, there's a clarity that comes for you. You start becoming clearer and clearer of who you really are, what you really want. And there's a certain wisdom too. You become really confident in yourself, and you learn so much about yourself that you don't even have to ask anybody about anything anymore. You can just go inward, and you have the wisdom, you have the inspiration, and you also will learn that you have everything you need to actually be happy and to be you, and not to look outside and what needs to change there, or what do I need from there or them or anything. It's really an inside job. So, and my question to you is, so how can you create happiness with the answers that you got, that you've written down on a piece of paper? How can you create happiness with this type of work? Because this is your roadmap. You just created a roadmap with everything you wrote on paper, everything you learned here. You created a roadmap for you to your unique inner deepest truth and happiness. And to just look, how can I create that? I know now, I've written it down. How can I create it with these steps? And that's really how you optimize yourself. You optimize how you live, your health, your mindset, and everything. And it's like also you pinpoint what's keeping you from aligning with who you really are, which is happiness. And you also learn how to eliminate what's not helpful, so you can then be the highest form. And so you feel loved, you feel seen, you feel heard, and you're actually really enjoying a very vivid, life full of zest and everything. And that it means that you don't change anything. It just means you shift, you learn about yourself, and you step into who you really are. So with that said, I just, chatted your heads off and everything, and I hope you got the best out of it. I think we can go into Q&A, and then maybe touch base on the gift that we have for everyone as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much. That was great. It was a ton of information. It was a lot of things for people to kind of reflect back on. So we are definitely going to send out this recording. I think the number one question that I got in the Q&A was people talking about that they did not receive the workbook. So you want to check your emails. So I sent that out a little bit before 9 a.m. this morning. So it might be in your spam. But when I send the recording out tonight, I will resend that workbook back out with it. So make sure to check your emails. And then if any of you want to ask any questions, you can type them into the chat or into the Q&A. So far, we thank you, most helpful. And then we had someone write in and say that happiness is a decision I make daily. When I awaken, I'm happy that God has blessed me with another day on planet Earth. And then from this perspective, I'm able to handle anything that happens today.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it's a decision, it's a commitment. And I do think that what with this, what the person said, what I love so much is that it highlights that it's not just something like you quickly think about it, then you're wondering why not, right? It's like this mindful, be mindful about it, right? Just like when you go to the closet, maybe not everyone, but when you go to the closet, what shall I wear, right? Be mindful about it. And happiness, be mindful about it. When you eat, be mindful about the foods that you eat. It's really, I think it's a lot of times we're so busy and we're so constantly go, that being mindful is the missing key point. And with happiness, it's no different. It's like, if you're not happy, ask yourself, am I even mindful about it, to choose it constantly and to put attention to it, and you really want to put attention to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then another question that we just got: how do you find happiness when your life's problems are beyond your control?
Let him go. Let him go. It means that, first of all, a lot of times the life situations drag you somewhere, and then you become unhappy or upset or feel stuck or whatnot because it's dragging you somewhere. And what happens then is, like, maybe later you say, oh, that's why this happened, right? So I invite that if there's so much stuff happening that's out of your control, and that's what drags you down into an unhappy state, to really step back and say, I am happiness, and I'm going to let life unfold. I'm going to let life unfold because it's ever changing. And a lot of times things happen, actually all the time, things happen for a reason. And at the end of it, if we follow with that and we go with that flow, you're not here to be in this, like, I always say, you're not here to be in this highway and that's where I'm going to go all the way until the end. No, you're here to just take step by step, one foot after the other, slow and steady and mindful. And if life throws you left, you are invited to go left. If it's throwing you right, you go right, right? And to at least consider to step out of that heart kind of like, this is how it has to be. Because we then get tumbled over, right? Because, like, well, but I wanted it that way. Well, life, the universe, consciousness, God, however you want to call it, the higher purpose of you is obviously wanting you to let go and see what happens. And there is real power in that. And to just realize that letting go does not mean you let go of yourself. Letting go means you let go of the outer circumstances, because you have your inside you. That's the most powerful place to be anyway, right? Now, if the life situation is a dangerous one or whatnot, we all know you have to do something about it. However, I would just say, breathe, meditate, know that you have everything inside of you. And obviously, if the outside is going crazy, it's time to go inward and be that strength inside. And you'll see, when you change inward and or not change, when you shift inward and you really are who you are, your outer world will change too. Why? Because it's all energy. If I change inside, the outside changes too, because you affect the outside.
Okay, so then we had a couple of questions, all sort of dealing with the idea of when you lose people or you're deep in grieving. How do you kind of stay happy during those times?
Yeah, that's a really, really good subject. And it's actually interesting that it comes up, because I'm actually writing a book. It's called Feeling Left Behind, or Left Behind. And it is about losing someone and feeling left behind. And the thing is the way I see this subject is that it's a separation that needs to happen. And the separation is the following: that nobody is ever left behind, because we get stuck up on that. Nobody is ever left behind, and nobody is ever going either, because everything is energy, right? You can always still be in touch with anybody that has transitioned or passed. And with that said, when somebody transitions, to me, it's their event of light. And if I'm invited to a ball or something, right? Somebody else's ball or whatnot, I dress up, I come, I take really good care of myself, and I celebrate their event. And when you look at the transition that way, you celebrate that somebody passed. Yes, you miss them and it hurts you. However, you were actually part of their event of light. meaning that it's a celebration that they were able to transition. And if I respectfully celebrate them, suddenly things change a little, because suddenly you feel like, wow, you have a new understanding of a transition in life. And then when you do that shift, you can then take care of your feelings and say, well, I'm extremely sad and I really miss them, and I'm embracing that. However, I don't have to live it if I'm not happy in it. That goes to these 3 points, right? These 3 options you have. You can live it, you can be it, and then, but you embrace it, realize that this is part of you, and really kind of love that part of you. And suddenly you feel better, you feel gentler about yourself. Or you can say, I'm going to feel it, but I'm letting it go, because was the event of light from that other person, which is beautiful too. Or you can say, what is my lesson in this, right? So there's ways to absolutely step by step feel better with this understanding. Mostly though is, I want to say, be gentle with yourself, really love yourself and do good stuff for yourself, and then grab these tools in the outside world that make you feel better, to kind of get that tank of feeling good about yourself, fill that tank a little bit again. And also not to reach for happiness like jumping high on a trampoline type of happiness. Go with happiness, a cup of tea with some honey, how sweet it is, and the birds, and start really mindfully and with the basics, and work yourself up again.
Very nice. And then we had a last person say, this is incredibly powerful. You covered every question I had. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I know I'm a talker, but it's like I could talk for the next 5 hours about this. So yeah, I had to condense it. So really quickly about, Stephanie, about the workbook, what I just wanted to touch base is the workbook I put together specifically for this group. And I am sharing excerpts of my book, Daily Passages, but we're talking also in the workbook, I listed different articles I wrote, different researches and findings I wrote. And a lot of it was also like in Russian university, they're using it. And I put this together, condensed a little bit, but we're talking about pain, we're talking about stress, we're talking about trust, we're talking about fear, we're talking about all kinds of things, how you can turn and shift things around so you can actually feel better.
That's amazing. And then a little bit about, if you want to tell people, because Jacqueline has very nicely is going to offer you guys a gift at the end of this that I'll email out. So why don't you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I like gifts and I like giving gifts. So here we are. So there's happiness right there, right? Well, I have a 365 days of happiness course program where it's all with videos, and every day there's like tips and tricks and how to stay happy, and there's weekly coaching and whatnot. And I made from that the first 4 weeks as a 28-day crash course for happiness. So because some people don't want to go a whole year. So, and that's what I want to gift to everyone for free. And you can sign up. There's a code. You go to my website with the link, and then you create an account. Don't worry. It's just, that's how the website works. You put in the code, the coupon code, and it puts it to $0. And then you have access. And then if you, of course, like to upgrade to the 365, you can then do that for a prorated amount, but you don't have to purchase anything. I really, really want to give that to you. And meaning that for 4 weeks, every week you get a video, you get podcast episodes, you get text, so you can study, right? You can focus, once again, mindfully focus on happiness for 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then there's also like every day there is a little like homework for you, what to focus on to keep you on track every single day and practice happiness. So it's both coaching and it's daily instructions as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So everyone, we are obviously sending out a lot in your email. So please be checking those so you can find out the recording of this, the workbook, and then the free gift that Jacqueline has so graciously included for all of you.
If I
Yeah.
may add, I put the code from tonight. It starts tonight. It opened already up until Friday at 12 midnight. So I think that gives everyone enough. It also puts a little pressure on everyone to say, okay, I'm going to commit to happiness. I gotta get on this. And then you have access to that. And then maybe to just not share the code outside of what we're doing here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, Jacqueline, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who came out tonight. This was really great. I learned a lot. I know that everyone else did as well. So thank you again so much. And I hope everyone has a great night.
Thank you so much for having me. And if you have any questions, I'm always